Once I had a particular difficult situation with a staff member who was turning against us, causing us an awful lot of difficulty. And I had a situation where it was actually my father who came to me, and he was dismissed for very good reason. He caused a workplace accident, and he was not following orders, and there was a really big issue with this guy. And he happened to share the same faith as us, which is always a difficult circumstance as well. And he was dismissed, and it was actually not I that dismissed him, it was my father. But later on, he came and he begged for his job back and apologised, a real heartfelt apology. And the guy was not really performing well. And my dad actually felt the Lord tell him to take him back. And when he came and talked to me and said, well, you know, I feel God saying this, I thought that was ludicrous. How could God ever invite this sort of trouble back into our business? And I remember saying, well, if God really said it to you, he can say it to me too. And I went away and prayed about it and felt that the Lord had put on our heart to put this guy back on. And I did that. We walked through it. We went through prayer time, everything, because he was a Christian as well. We got a third party in to help deal with all of the grievances and everything, and put him back on. And guess what happened? It went wrong. And I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, how could this happen? How could we be set up when we followed the Lord? But I think sometimes our thinking is too narrow, because we're thinking about ourselves and we're not thinking about the God that owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. He is the God who is sovereign. He is all powerful. He is in charge of our business. We willingly and openly declare that. And sometimes he asks us to do stuff that doesn't make sense. And it did go wrong. But through it, God showed me that he cared about the other people in this situation as well. And he wanted me to extend grace. Much grace has been extended to me. So who am I not to extend grace as well? And you know, when it did go wrong the second time and he caused a lot of issues, he stirred up a lot of trouble with external organisations like Workplace Health and Safety and all of the rest. But we went through that second round of trouble, and the Lord delivered us from every single accusation that came against us. And that's the sort of thing that I'm talking about when there's a natural and a supernatural, and they're very closely aligned. And we weren't battling against the person, even though at times, because it was a person and because they'd wronged us and hurt us and we tried to respond to the Lord, at times I think we did stoop into battling it on the natural level. But when we responded to the Lord and kept our eyes on him, he fought the battle for us, and he was able to deal with the situation so that we could walk free and know that he had been at work in that situation. There's just so many stories I can tell you about how it's in the natural and the relying on the supernatural that we seem to navigate through and then turn around and say, wow, how did that happen?